Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Kamu and welcome to another video. Today I will show you another meta deck, and this is actually what I think is the most meta defining deck at the moment, because we either see this or versions of this, or we see something that can counter it. And this specific version is made by Lifecoach. I think it's extremely strong. I use it myself when I want to climb. Yesterday, for example, with my second account I played 22 games and won 20 of those, so more than 90% win rate, and definitely you can do that too. And yeah, today I want to show you the build and why it's built this way and some gameplay. So let's just clear the deck and build it ourselves. Let's start with the most important cards. First, of course, we need the Clown Drummond Shieldmaidens, because they are actually the best cards of Skellige right now, because they are 21 power in round 3, they thin the deck earlier, and they deal damage on our opponent's side, and they are a tempo play. And Skellige really needs these type of tempo plays, because usually Skellige cards are slow. So, as I said, this is an Axemen deck, and obviously, therefore, we need 3 Axemen. What Axemen do is they are 2 in stats, so they're really slow, but they get stats or power when our opponents get damaged. And that means that they're really strong in later of the round. So when we, for example, apply weather to our opponent's board, and then they get buffed every turn. And therefore, obviously, we need weather. We want as many good weathers in our deck as possible, because another concept of this deck is that right now everybody is playing Skellige with the Savage Bear, and there's a lot of weather, for example, monster weather. And so units that you play on board are of lower value than in patches before. That means that we really want to have as few minions on our side of the board as possible. And therefore, weathers, obviously, they are special cards, so they don't give our opponent stat that he can damage. So definitely play 3 of those. Another very important weather cards are White Frost and Aeromancy, because they apply Biting Frost to 2 rows. So they are basically 2 bronze cards. And in this deck, they are extremely good silver cards, because they synergize with the Axemen really well. When it comes to the bronze, not the bronze cards, we need the clan craite raiders, and we need 3 of those, because the first reason is King Bran. Usually in Skellige we use the craite, but in this deck we use the King Bran, and the reason for that is that this deck, it really lacks tempo. We have Axemen that are 2 in stats, and we have Biting Frosts, which are in the first round, as you play them, are only 2 stats too. So we really want to make up for that, and we need to have huge power plays or tempo plays. And since craite gives us 14 stats when he pulls the Morkvarg, and King Bran gives us 20 stats, we want to use the King Bran. And what King Bran does is it discards cards, and so we just play cards that will be resurrected when we discard them. And so therefore we need 2 clan craite raiders, and we need the Morkvarg. And when it comes to the 3rd clan craite raider, the reason why we play him is just because we play the Madman Lugos, because Madman Lugos is probably the 2nd best golden card in Skellige right now. It discards a bronze unit from your deck, and if you discard the clan craite raider, you get the stats from the raider. So if you discard a raider in round 3, it's 6 plus 6 plus 7, so 19 stats, which is really good for a golden card. So therefore we need 3 of those. Of course, in the current meta, since everybody is playing weather right now, we want the first light. And also the first light is really good, I think, because usually we have played the raiders and we have played the shield maidens, and so what we then draw is an Axeman or a Freya, because we will add them. of course. So that makes the first light really good, because either it's a weather clear or it's a good pull. And when it comes to the other silver cards, we obviously want the Gramis, because the Gramis, it's just insane. If you play the Blood-Curdling Roar on your Freya, it's 14 stats, and if you play Weather, it synergizes very well with the Axemen, and if you play, for example, against Weather monsters, then Fierce Guys is also very, very good. So this is definitely a spot that has to be placed with Gramis. A very interesting thing is that we don't play Sigdrifa. And the reason why we don't play Sigdrifa, even though it's a really, really strong card, is because we don't have very good resurrection targets. Because we only resurrect either the Axemen or the Gramis. And usually we won't have that much use for a second Gramis usually, and the Axemen will be resurrected by the Freyas. And so we want something else in our silver slot. And the something else is namely the Donar and Hindar, because Donar and Hindar in this deck is really good. Because, as you will see, is that our opponents will try to counter this deck, and so they will play a lot of locks. And obviously Donar can unlock the Axemen, and is therefore needed in this deck, in my opinion. And of course also Lifecoach opinion. Also what we play as the last silver card is the Udalryk. And what's said about this is that usually 12 power for a spy is usually not good. But this spy in this deck is specifically much better than in any other deck, because first, we don't apply power to our board, but we apply power to our opponent's board, which can then be damaged and which can then be transformed into power for the Axemen. Plus, this type of deck is exponential, so it will be it will grow in stats very fast. And then usually we are like 30 stats ahead and 40 stats ahead. That's actually not a rare case. So in these type of cases, Udalryk is just amazing, because our opponent cannot bleed us anymore, but we can just play the Udalryk and still be ahead. So this is actually a really good spy in this deck. So what is left are 3 golden spots, and of course we need to play the best golden card of Skellige, and that's Hjalmar. And the reason why Hjalmar is so insane in this deck is because he is always 25 stats. He's like almost always 25 stats, like in more than 90% of the cases. Because he will place a Lord Andvik on our opponent's side, which can then be damaged, and probably will always be damaged because we have so much weather and so much damage for the opponent's side. So the Lord Andvik also buffs the Axemens, which makes this card just an auto include in this type of Axemen deck. Of course, the last and third last, or second last golden card is debatable, but we play Regis the Higher Vampire because it's really good against Spelter, and Spelter usually counters this deck really well. With the Regis Higher Vampire, we just eat the Protectors. And then it's like 20 stats, and even more because we steal 1 Protector. On the other side, excuse me, on the other side, we can eat the Clan Drummond Shieldmaiden in the mirror, which makes him around 18 stats in the mirror. So this is a good card in the actual meta. And the last card is Renew, because Renew is just very versatile, and Hjalmar is so good that you really want to resurrect him and play him twice. And also our opponents will play Hjalmar a lot, and then we can steal their Hjalmar, and we can play together with our Hjalmar in one round and get 35 stats for each, which then is just an auto win. So this is the deck, and I think again it's really strong. And so now let's play one game. So here we play against monsters. This is another type of deck that's very popular right now. besides, of course, Skellige. And I really want to get rid of the clan and craite raiders, and I don't want the Morkvarg in my hand, because Morkvarg and the clan and craite raiders will be summoned by the King Bran. So, what we do now.
Of course, friend. That's it. Good.
Boring just standing here.
Now we have 20 stats, which is exactly what we want. Really power play. And this temple play was so strong that he even can't overcome us in power. And I really want to pass here. So he plays what he thinks is the worst card. Which is not, actually, because the Griffin is really good against our deck.
Just one more.
And another very good strength of the King Bran, or of the Skellige leaders in general, is that we can always summon the Morkvarg. And of course, against monsters, it's not really important because they have the Harpies and the Harpy X, but usually if they have nothing on board and we have the Morkvarg on board, they cannot open pass. And that's really good. So I'm really not sure if I want to overcome him right now, because he played the water hack, which usually implies that he wants to play the round. But whatever. I want to overcome him, just in case, if he wants to pass. Because usually, I mean, if you lost round 2, then your goal is really to overcome your opponent in stats, so that he cannot pass anymore and have a good pass. Unfortunately, he played the Frightener, but I really want to play the Axeman now. He plays Fog, which is actually not bad for us, because now we can apply Biting Frost to the back row. And he has another Griffin. Well, that's fine, we just continue. We really have enough weathers, right? We have 3 Biting Frost, and we have Aeromancy, and we have even the White Frost. So, just spend them. Of course, now we have 2 weathers, and really want to clear them, because it really seems like he wants to play a longer round.
Gods, not a moment's peace.
Okay, so he plays weather from his hand. And I think we can play the Axeman, because we have another one in our hand. In the form of Freya. Really want to play Frost here. Oh. The only thing that's really annoying here is if he played Succubus. But seems like he doesn't have it, so that was a good round. We're still 1 card ahead because we overcame him in stats, and so after he passes, we can just do the same. Getting shieldmaidens in round 3 is really good. So this is an Axeman. This is also an Axeman after we played the shieldmaiden and Madman Lugos. I'm not sure. But I really don't want to get another shieldmaiden. That would be really bad, so I just keep it safe. And I want to play the Hjalmar first, but I want to play it in the mid row. The reason why I want to play it in the mid row is because if I play Aeromancy, I can only play Biting Frost on 2 adjacent rows, so the front and the mid, or the back and the mid. And so since I always want to apply it onto the Andvik, and I don't yet know which rows I want to play Biting Frost on, I just play it in the mid row. So still not sure whether I want it in the back row because of the crowns. Nah. He plays it in the end, right? Usually.
A word once given will never break.
Sometimes not, but usually they play it in the as the last card. So we don't want to get an Axeman now.
Virgin mother and crone.
Oh, very good that he drew the third crown. And yeah, this is probably, hopefully be in Freya. Maybe it will be an Axeman, but definitely we will play those two beforehand. Let's just play this one first.
I make the laws here.
Of course, we discard the Clan Craite Raider because he comes back.
Boring just standing here.
And he gives up. Very, very good. So, guys, as you can see, this deck is really, really good and really, really strong. And sometimes it's difficult to play because of all the weathers, but sometimes it's not, like in this case. And yeah, if you want to see more gameplay of specifically this deck, then please type it in the comments and leave a like if you liked it. It helps me out a lot. Also, if you want to stay tuned, you can subscribe. And what's left to say is have a great day and bye.